Welcome to Go Ask Your Mother. That's my other podcast. Welcome to All-Time Quarterback. Nice work. I'm Jack Tomzak. Left to right on your radio dial. There we go. Aaron Pankey, game changer. John Vitamus, normal person.
That seems
harsh.
Accurate.
Necessarily harsh. All right, Green Bay Packers lost to the hated fake rivals, Minnesota Vikings, 10-23 at the Metrodome 2, affectionately named the Deuce, because it's also poop, by myself. Yeah. All right, we had a whole big plan for today's show, but things happened. So
got wrecked.
Yeah. On the list were pre-game, the injuries going into the game. Does that even matter anymore? Does anything matter anymore?
Yes, there is some importance to who got injured that didn't play in the game.
Okay.
Specifically, there was 3 of the defensive players, defensive backs, Morgan Burnett, Devon House, and Kevin King, all didn't play, which I thought was kind of a big deal going into the game, but not as big of a worry knowing that they were going to start Case Keenum because Bradford didn't play because he looked really rough the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have Rodgers and the offense can carry you, these type of injuries don't mean as much when you're going to play a backup quarterback. But I think as soon as what happened, it kind of was a much bigger deal.
I do think that I think you're right. Especially not only Case Keenum starting instead of Sam Bradford, but not having Stephon Diggs really made a lot of the secondary because Devon House and Kevin King both did not play. And I think their absences would not have been felt nearly as much as they would have been felt had Stephon Diggs actually played. But those were, but their secondary is such a mess. I'm not really sure how you can quantify how not having those 2 guys changes things, really.
I'm Facebook Living this, but they can't hear you. They can just hear me. I'm talking about football with 2 guys from high school.
You're doing a show within a show?
It's very meta. I don't know what that word means. Yeah, see? That's Aaron.
The meta. The meta is the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
You are just incredibly techno-savvy. How could you possibly – that's – wow. I'm going to school for computer science. I
like how you're moving on from the show already. I mean, we're
no, I started
very little into it, and you just
No, I started it, and then I realized that they can't hear you guys, so just me sitting in front of my computer listening is dumb. Sorry, I'm back in the game.
Back in the game. Okay.
So then let's talk about the injuries that happened outside of the big one today.
Mm-hmm.
That were kind of significant.
All right, I got it right here. Outside of the big ones today, defensively secondary, again, Quentin Rollins left with an ankle injury, did not return. So that hurts an already vulnerable position. But speaking of vulnerable positions, they lost 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen today. Brian Bulaga left with a concussion. Go ahead.
Oh, let's go back to the defensive backs because was it Pepkin who hadn't even played for them at all?
Yes.
And then he got hurt in the game. It literally felt like every 4th play somebody was getting hurt.
Aaron Andrews at some point said the bodies are piling up on the sideline. Like, geez. Oh, she said they are piling up on the sideline. I think she was referring to injuries, but I was like, that's a little morbid, Aaron.
Well, I don't know.
She can say whatever she wants.
That's right, she can.
She's a professional.
That's
sideline
right.
reporter.
She's a capable, qualified sideline reporter, and she can say whatever the heck she wants to me anytime she'd like.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Because that We don't have anything in common.
So I don't know who this Pepkin guy is, but he got hurt.
But he was not important enough to put on the injury report in game. So I don't know if that was just precautionary because we can't afford an injury settlement at this point. I'm not really sure what.
I mean, I saw him get injured.
He was not healthy when he left. He was not healthy when he left the field, but he was not in the in-game injury report.
All right, but then Balaga. Let's go to the line then, right? Balaga got hurt.
Yep, Balaga left with a concussion. Bakhtiari re-aggravated his hamstring injury. And
he's got the best number.
What was his?
What's his number?
Yeah,
69.
Oh. I don't get it. What do you mean?
Aaron, just because we talk like we're still in high school doesn't mean
we're not in the locker room, Mr. President.
Come on,
knock it off.
A little bit of
I think it's fun that number.
A little bit of class. And then Lane Taylor left with knee and ankle injuries and was listed as out for the rest of the game. So that's 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen.
Well, it's whoever's going to be behind that new offensive line. I hope they're insured. Are there more Packers injured than not injured? And should we go try to walk on the team Monday morning?
Well, here's the thing. It really is because when you run down the list of people you would want to call to replace Aaron Rodgers, the big injury we'll get to in a second.
Kind of sounds like you're there.
I think we just got
there. I kind of am.
Here we are.
All right, fine. We're there. All right.
Aaron Rodgers, collarbone broken, out for the
season? Throwing collarbone.
Let's talk about the play.
Let's talk about the play,
Let's talk about the play.
As a fan, I'm watching the play.
Okay.
Good.
And I'm feeling sure the guy could have pulled up. It didn't even look that serious.
It did not look like that bad of a hit. Or
he
guess.
Knew right away. He knew right away. I mean, if I would have broke my collarbone, I'd probably be screaming. He just puts his head down and then yells at the other guy.
Yourself.
Yeah, he was yelling at Anthony Barr like he just ran a stop sign, not like he just broke his collarbone.
Come on, I'm playing football here. What are you doing?
What are we doing here?
Yeah. Okay, move it along, Barr.
But it must have been just the right, like the straw that broke the camel's back or something, just the right angle or whatever, because it really didn't look like that bad of a hit. I've seen him take much worse.
We're going to do what we can to not talk so much about high school because we realize the majority of the world did not go to high school with us. But Chick Owen, Mr. Owen, a gym teacher and other teacher, health teacher, something. I remember him freshman year saying that the collarbone was like the easiest thing you could break. And I think I have not verified that, but I think I choose to believe that is still true.
Well, it's the second one Aaron has broken in his career.
Same one?
No, the other one was on the left side, so it was his non-throwing. So I would assume, and reports as of right now is that he could miss the rest of the season, which made a lot of people where I work today cry. I don't know that. Let's say it's a 2-month injury. Mm-hmm. So he misses 8 weeks with a bye in there.
The second bye.
Right. Let's make sure we clarify that. They already had their first bye.
Of course.
You're still back with 3 weeks left to go in the season? Is that? I don't know.
Depending on how whoever is throwing the ball, if they can cobble together enough victories, depending on what the record is at that point, a healthy leg to healthy rest of his body, Aaron Rodgers is pretty good going into December. No.
Well, yeah, and look at the rest of the NFC. I mean, does anybody really kind of scare you?
There's teams that scare me enough to think that a wild card is in jeopardy?
The fact that we don't have our quarterback is enough to scare me to think that a wild card isn't possible, or that why are we going to bother to play the rest of the. We should do what you suggested for the Bears and just forfeit the rest of the games.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I actually jotted that down on a piece of paper.
Now, do what the Bears do?
No, not do what the Bears do. Well, you're going to lose anyway, because you don't have Aaron Rodgers, and that's like a 14-point hole that you're in at opening kickoff every week.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get into options that they can bring in to replace Aaron Rodgers that may or may not be better than Brett Hundley.
That's it. Run the option. He doesn't need a good collarbone for that. Just pitch it off. Just pitch it off. That's how you do it. You just like that. And you lay yourself out for the DN to obliterate your face.
But and you guys can answer this better than I can, because you guys are more rabid Packer fans than I am.
I don't give a crap about football.
Well, you say that, but you would really like to be Aaron Rodgers. There's no about it.
I'll answer this as the owner.
Yeah. Okay. As the owner, yes. Thank you.
Why do we start there? What are you guys going to do, Aaron, with your team? Do you talk to my dad today? Are
you okay seeing what Brett Hundley has, even if that means you go 1-7 if Aaron misses 8 games? And you get a top 6 pick if Aaron Rodgers is sticking around for 6 more years, 5, 6, 7 more years, and you get a top 6 pick.
I think my
can you stomach a losing season?
Initially, I was thinking, let's go get somebody. Then, a talking head, Adam Schefter, reported or threw out there on his Twitter account, what about Romo? And so then I'm listening to Romo talk about the Chiefs Pittsburgh game, I think he was calling, right? Yep. And he's mentioned something about Lev Bell, that it took him, a running back, a few weeks to get into game playing
shape,
whatever. And he's a running back for a team that he's already played for. So he came in, he missed all of preseason, and then just jumped right in. And then I thought, well, if we go and get another quarterback, it's going to take 3 weeks at least. So, and they may not even be any much better than what we have. So why not just roll with him? We have to see what we have in Hundley, and just go with that.
What if the Packers were to go get a quarterback like a Tony Romo or a Colin Kaepernick or, me? What would it cost them?
Answer that
just
call,
money?
Did you answer that call?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Say, hey, can you come play quarterback? You're probably gonna lose the function of your left side of your body after the first play. Would you do it? You goddamn right I'd do it.
Well, they have some money in their cap space.
Okay.
Will Teddy pull that trigger? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. As far as the Tony Romo thing goes, that's not happening. You can rule that out.
Yeah, he's too good at what he does. He loves it.
Not only is he too good at what he does, you're not going to put somebody with chronic back problems behind that offensive line right now, because he'll die. And then we won't get to listen to Tony Romo anymore, and we'll all.
And I like Tony Romo. Listening to him, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not an option. The Colin Kaepernick thing, I don't think can be an option.
The people of Wisconsin wouldn't like that.
No.
You've got to be.
That was actually a very heated discussion this afternoon at work.
No, I think that a lot of fans would be okay with it, because they understand we need a good quarterback, especially if Hundley doesn't play well in the first 2 weeks. I think more will switch to, we got to get somebody. He's an option.
When Adrian Peterson was in trouble for beating his child to the point where his 4-year-old son's scrotum bled, Vikings fans, I was talking to my uncle, who's a huge Packer fan, and I assumed, I thought that the Green Bay Packers and their fans demanded their players be above board and pillars of the community and examples of character. And my uncle said, who's the biggest fan I know, no, we just want him to play football. Adrian Peterson's really good. We should take him if we could get him. And maybe the fans would accept Colin Kaepernick. But the same argument that applies to Tony Romo, getting up to speed, would apply to Colin Kaepernick, would it not?
It would,
yes. Yeah. And Colin Kaepernick, from what I recall, please correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't that good toward the end of his career.
Well, neither was the rest of the 49ers. And I don't know that Colin Kaepernick is or is not a starting quarterback. But there is a difference between the mentality to Colin Kaepernick than there is to Adrian Peterson, in the sense that Adrian Peterson did those things behind closed doors in his own home. Colin Kaepernick, according to the people that I have talked to in Wisconsin, is just throwing that stuff out there. You just can't possibly do that.
See, and I would argue Colin Kaepernick, right or not, believes that he's doing what he's doing in a movement he's leading for righteous purposes. And Adrian Peterson, a physical abomination who could handle you or me or Aaron you no differently than he would a 4-year-old child, took that massive power, speed, and strength and did it to a small person.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah. So that being said,
so anyway,
it's going to take time for a quarterback to get up to speed. Stick with the guy we have.
Yes, but
who knows?
I feel like you need to get a backup to him.
Favre.
And so Favre comes in your mind right away. Like let's get Favre. He's 38.
You're already in the Hall of Fame.
I think he was. I think Favre was sitting at home watching the game and just started to get really ticked off, and nobody mentioned his name.
but now somebody mentioned Eli Manning's name actually to trade for, because they're 0-5. They're looking to move on, probably from. And then I'm thinking, I don't want Eli Manning.
His pouty face.
At all.
Doesn't matter about his pouty face. What are you going to trade for him and then just have him be the backup to Aaron Rodgers when he comes back? That's not an option.
Right. So who else could you go get? You're not going to go trade for Teddy Bridgewater, because then you're moving your team in a totally different direction for a young quarterback. So who's out there that's
there is a name, and I want to look and see what his status is right now. They do have Joe Callahan on the practice squad, but
Tommy Callahan's boy.
It is, yeah. Callahan Auto Parts. Yeah, Callahan Auto Parts.
Ohio.
Because if Taysom Hill is on the Saints practice squad, that would be a guy that I would go sign right now. Even if he is on their active roster, there's no reason to not give the Saints a 7th-round draft pick for Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill was a good quarterback in the preseason. Now, granted, 4th string, whatever, but he already knows your offense. So if anything happens to Brett Hundley, he's already going to be acclimated and know what needs to be done, or how the plays need to be run. So,
and he was kind of excited in the preseason.
Yeah, and he was very exciting to watch. So I would throw 6th, 7th round pick back for Taysom Hill to get him back from the Saints. But if he's on the practice squad, I sign him tonight. But I'm not Ted Thompson, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a guy that they're going to go get.
Well, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers next year?
Gosh, I think it's Aaron Rodgers. As much as
Yeah.
we have talked about trading him already in the first couple of weeks of this season, I think it's still going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So why hamper yourself long term by giving up anything of value for some guy to keep the seat warm for a few months here? Wouldn't bother me if we just totaled this season and
because Taysom
waited for next year.
Taysom Hill is a rookie. So even if you give up a 6th or a 7th round pick to get him back in here, you still get to see what he has. And you could actually, if he performs well, you could turn around and trade him in the offseason.
Yeah. Right.
And recoup that value.
Yeah, I think your best bet is if you know that if Rodgers isn't going to come back, look to next year. I mean, your line is hurt. Keep those guys healthy. Get them healthy. Figure out who else you got. Get those D-back. I'm not saying that the season is lost, but you almost have to. It's hard not to go that way. It's hard to think. It's hard to think that Hundley is going to take us to a wild card spot. I mean, the NFL is crazy. Look at what's happened. I'm right. I'll look at all the stars that have gone down with injury and teams that are needing help.
You're absolutely right. And if you just look at it, just going off of the conversations that we have had in the first 5 weeks of this season, 4-1 was a mirage.
Yes.
There's no way they should be 4-1 right now. And
they should be 5-0. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I believe
just gone in and stomped Atlanta when they were down there.
Yeah. I said it's not a good sign when right away you've got to put everything on the arm of your quarterback. Because what if that stops working? Then you're screwed. We're screwed.
0-9.
Yeah. Hey, what about are there people who are injured now who, if Aaron Rodgers was still playing and the season was still viable, they would rush off the injured reserve list and get him on the field? And maybe now you don't have to do that. So maybe people who are hurt can get better.
Oh, now everybody just on board with getting everybody healthy.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I think it
doesn't matter
depends
anymore.
on the injury.
Well, yeah.
But
like if you collarbones, get back out there, sissy.
Like a hamstring groin, that, you may rush that back a little bit early, but now there's why not take another week just to make sure?
Yeah. If your face is broken, you can stay out as long as
they have 4 wins right now, but there's a chance, especially if Aaron actually does miss the rest of the season, there's a chance that they could end up 6-10. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
2 wins.
That's optimistically.
Well, you're going to play the Bears again. Trubisky's young, right?
The Vikings beat us with their 3rd string quarterback.
We forfeit against the Bears every time. Don't worry about it.
Well, they got to throw the records out, so I'm not even sure that would cut them back.
We still play. Let's look at the schedule. That's a great question. Looking forward. I mean, we still got the Bears, and we still got the Browns.
Ooh.
So, yeah, we could get 2 wins there. I mean, the rest of it's rough. I mean, the Saints, they've got a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, you get to
play the Lions twice with Stafford. You got Flacco, so there's a chance there. He's not great. You got to go to the Pittsburgh where Ben Roethlisberger wants to quit football. I mean, so there's that.
He's admitted he didn't have it anymore.
And you play the Buccaneers, who Winston is hurt. We'll see where that goes with their team. So there's maybe another coin flip game. And then you play Cam, and then you play the Vikings again with probably Bradford at that point.
Maybe even Bridgewater. That's pretty late in the season.
Maybe. Bradford's much better than Bridgewater. I mean, if you watch that first game the Vikings played, Bradford looked amazing.
Yeah, how many teams in the NFL this season are going to lose less than 6 games? 6 or 5, maybe? Browns, 49ers, Colts, Jets, Bears. Am I missing anybody?
Colts?
Colts was on the list. Yep.
What about the Colts guys?
The Chargers.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about. Oh, the Chargers might lose. They might lose.
Oh yeah, the Colts.
Oh gosh,
and there's the Colts.
Good, Jack. Yeah, good job. Man,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Pagano. I mean, he is an excellent.
You know who
coach.
gets a lot of second buys this season?
Colts.
The Colts.
The Colts.
Okay.
And their quarterback's injured.
So you're looking at a top 7 pick if you just, for lack of a better phrase, mail it in for the rest of the season. So,
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to want quarterbacks, so you could probably trade.
You could probably restock a lot of positions by getting out of that 7th pick in the draft. And even if you want to stay there, I'm sure you could get an impact.
You guys with your, I'm sorry.
With your draft strategies and your
April talk.
It's choppy. Looking at Brett Hundley's play today with 18 out of 33, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. How did he look to you guys? Did he look like a guy who could be decent this season down the road? You know, he's filling in for Aaron Rodgers can't be easy, but if any one of us was behind center, it would have been very apparent we don't belong there. But did this guy look like he belonged?
Initially, he looked lost. Extremely lost. And telegraphing passes. But I think that's just getting thrown into fire right away. I mean, I think you as a quarterback, you knew, you kind of felt that some, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You first started the game, you're like, I'm under fire. Guys are coming at me. It's a little fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kept
they took off his water
way of thinking the whole season. Nah, they're coming. They're coming.
And then, but then you got used to it. And then.
No, I didn't. Aaron, it got to the point where our coach, when Vitti was flanked out left, the coach of the other team said, they're throwing it to this guy because it's the only guy who gets thrown to. I was pretty bad.
And the only guy that was standing out wide, too.
I told the D-backs, it's going to this guy, fellas, right there on the left. His name's John.
See, I told him, too. And
he's a nice guy. He's going to catch this. But to make a little joke, the first huddle I was in charge of, it was my junior year, and I was intimidated by everybody in our own huddle, and I called the play. It was a field goal, and I was like, it was very meek about it. And when field goal, yeah, and Brian Polachek came up to me and said, "You ever run a huddle like that again? I'll kick your ass." But when Hundley got in, I think it was the play he had to call the timeout for because he called the wrong play. But when he was in the huddle, he took command. He didn't look like he was afraid or anything. So
I think that, yeah, he did look like they took the water wings off of him and threw him in the deep end for a little while there. But I honestly believe that it looked like Mike McCarthy just basically cut his playbook in half and said, "Yeah, this page right here, these are Aaron's plays. You can't run these plays."
Well,
and that's all fine and good, but part of the, and again, that's what makes Aaron so great, is there are only certain plays that he can run.
Yeah, and to be a good NFL quarterback, much less an excellent NFL quarterback, it's not like they're running plays like people run out in the backyard or in high school football. I mean, this is complicated stuff and timing and all, and not to mention the subtleties of not telegraphing a pass and pump faking when you're supposed to and looking off a corner and how to do that without crapping yourself and being aware of what's around you in the pocket. All that stuff is incredibly difficult, which is why there's like 8 people who are good at it.
Right. And he did have flashes where he actually played well. It's not like they cut down the playbook so much that he was just running 36 daylights for
the first pass play. The first pass play, I said out loud, "What are you doing?" You just got here. You hand the ball to somebody else.
Turn around and hand the ball off.
Yeah, come on.
I feel I had a hand in that whole deal as a Packer fan. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game, and I realize I don't have my Packer gear on because there was family stuff, the kids. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go put my Packer stuff on. So I run into the bedroom. I have 2 jerseys. I'm like, well, I have 3 jerseys. I have my Favre jersey, but I don't wear that. I don't wear that anymore. So I have Rodgers, and then I have the other jersey, and it's Clay Matthews. I'm like, I'll wear Clay this time. So I put it on, and I walk out, and that's the play. Like, Rodgers just got injured. I put on the wrong jersey, and then I'm trying to explain to my wife this, and then my son hears this, and then he's giving me a hard time because he keeps telling me, you hurt Aaron Rodgers because you put the wrong jersey on.
Well, and I learned that my Aunt Barb was not watching the game today, so that confirms it, Aaron. You did it.
Oh, my. Whoa. If Aunt Barb wasn't watching the game, how can she possibly be seated in the correct chair? Like, what was she watching other than the Packer game? So it's actually
I don't know.
It's actually both of their faults. Because unless she was still in the chair, all bets are off.
Oh, so like she was just in the chair watching something else, and her presence in front of ATV contributed to the Packers' loss.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if she's watching Transformers or The Notebook. Yeah. If she's sitting in that chair, then she's fine.
So, Aaron, how about you throw that Clay Matthews jersey away?
Well, I was a little while later. Then he keeps telling me this, and then Clay actually gets the fumble and runs it back.
Okay, so you can't get rid of it.
So then I'm like, see, it worked out.
But then he fumbled.
Yeah, if you throw that away, Clay Matthews might die. Are you wearing it now?
No, I took it all off. I took a shower. I had to clean
it. No pictures on social media of you burning.
So I don't know what I'm going to wear next week for the game.
Well, you might as well wear an Aaron Rodgers jersey. How bad could it be?
Yeah. Was 2007 Brett Favre's last year with the Packers?
Sounds about right, because 2005 was the Rodgers draft. So, yeah.
No, Rodgers rolled the pine for 4 years, didn't he?
3.
Oh.
I think he became a starter in 2008.
I was thinking about putting my Favre jersey on because I've got 2 jerseys that are both Brett Favre, and I thought, God, it's probably time to move on from that. So I didn't wear my jersey at all today because I need to get hip with the now and move on to the new quarterback they have. Who then got hurt. Yeah.
Yes, 2007. He was done.
Is one of your Favre jerseys a Vikings jersey?
No, but I do have a New York Jets jersey that my podcasting partner Ben Cruzy made for me that had a knife stuck in the back. And I wore that to Halloween as a Brett Favre put the knife stuck in his back because I'm not nearly as smart as Ted Thompson is.
So, don't sell yourself short. It's not really that hard.
That's another show.
Did you watch the whole game?
Vidya, I assume he's talking to you.
I watched most of the game. I was working for the game, but I did watch most of it.
What about you, Jack? Did you watch?
Of course. I was in a room where the TV was tuned to the Packers game. Now, at some point, I looked up from my laptop and I said to Ben, we don't need to wait till the game is over. We can start up and at him now. And he said, yeah, there's 15 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Oh, okay. I guess we're starting now. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was into it. I was in it first half, and then I got distracted by other stuff. But there was a play. Yeah, it was the touchdown pass where I leapt out of the couch with excitement when they scored, and I said to Ben, because again, I'm having a hard time caring about football. I'm like, Ben, what was that? I don't know the quarterback. He's this new fella. I barely pay attention to sports, and here I am leaping off the couch because a bunch of people I don't know in a color that I am very familiar with crossed over a line. So it's in here somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, we're going to be in new territory, which is actually kind of exciting.
It is.
When you used to watch Favre play, you used to be on the edge of your seat wondering what was going to happen. And with Rodgers, you kind of knew what was going to happen. So you're not as much on your seat. And now I feel like we're going to get back into this new time period for at least a little bit where we're kind of excited about what happens because we want to see where they go. And we've had this feeling before. So it's kind of exciting in that respect because you don't have to wait to the playoffs to sort of get at the edge of your seat.
And let's just, and this is, use your imagination here. When we didn't have a whole lot of time with Aaron Rodgers before we found out that he was good, right? I mean, we kind of knew the fact that they kept him for a few years under Brett Favre, and we knew we had reasonable expectation he was going to be a quality quarterback. When Brett Favre started, one, we were young, and B, the Packers had sucked for forever. But whenever you do something good, it was like a super huge surprise. What is happening in front of us? So if this other Brett ends up being not awful, anything he does that is not awful, we'll cheer about, and it'll be exciting. So I agree with Aaron.
I enjoyed.
Wow.
I'm laughing because I enjoyed. Sam Herbst posted on Facebook about.
For listeners, Sam is a guy who played football with us in high school and couldn't catch a ball thrown directly into his hands.
Tight end, D end. I think that's what he played. Tight end.
Yeah. Stick on D.
He had posted on Facebook some point during the middle of the third quarter, I believe it was, that he said it feels good to be able to say, "God damn it, Brett," all over again. So I thought that was fun.
Is he on the team just because of his first name? I guess we'll find out.
Well, it's weird because they put the last names on the jersey, so I don't think that's it.
Somebody should have figured out it wasn't the same person. We'll see. It'll be fun.
Today. We didn't today because he threw 3 interceptions. So.
It's like, are we sure that's not the same guy? Because remember, when Favre came in, he wasn't a hero right away. People hated him because he threw so many picks and loved him when he threw into triple coverage and it worked. So I'm up for excitement. And in a way, though, without Aaron Rodgers, not only the excitement of a new quarterback, but there's also, if Aaron Rodgers plays and we don't get to the playoffs or we don't get to the Super Bowl, it's a disappointment because we're running out of time with our superstar quarterback. That pressure's off.
Best ever.
Yeah, best ever. Yeah. That pressure's off.
I think you're going to find out.
You can watch a football game. It's like, we're probably going to lose, but let's see what happens.
I think you're going to find out just how bad some of these players are.
Yes.
Yes. You're really going to find out, and because for the most part, let's take Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson, for the most part, is considered a top 5 wide receiver in this league. But he is a top 5 wide receiver in this league because Aaron Rodgers is throwing him the football.
Sure.
I would be very interested to find out how far down those ranks he falls when it's Brett Hundley throwing the football in his general direction instead of to Jordy Nelson.
Well, how good is Jerry Rice without Joe Montana or Steve Young? I mean, doesn't every exceptional receiver need an exceptional quarterback?
He was pretty good at other teams, though.
Yeah. They found him in Mississippi Valley State, so he had some talent anyway.
Yeah, just like Randy Moss was pretty good when he moved to other places.
Yeah. Was he? I mean, Patriots cut him.
They almost went undefeated with him.
Yeah,
and the only time
offense.
The only time Brady had an Aaron Rodgers season was with Randy Moss.
Okay, so Randy Moss had a couple good quarterbacks he worked with. Where's the good receiver who had to play with a crappy quarterback? Viddy, you don't count.
AJ Green currently now.
Yeah, good. He's a good receiver without a good quarterback.
Yep. He plays with Andy Dalton, the redheaded stepchild of the NFL.
Well, you could say that with the exception of a couple of Kurt Warner years, Larry Fitzgerald's making an entire career out of it.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
All right.
You
have to be a better receiver to catch a ball from a crappy quarterback because it's less close to where it's supposed to be.
I tried telling people that.
Yeah.
Every time I walked out there and they said, "Where are they throwing the ball to this guy?"
That's why it helps AJ Green. He's like 6'4" with a 7-foot wingspan.
That helps.
Yeah.
I think you'll find you're gonna want to fire Ted Thompson as much as I do. So it will
really.
As you watch these next series,
both of you guys are going to want to fire him as much as I have for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to find out that Ted Thompson really doesn't know jack about his job.
Okay. Ron Wolf coming back? I live in the past.
No, but his son might.
Ooh, yes. Ooh. Well, I think he's already there.
Wolf pup.
He is already there, but
will he get opportunities?
Right.
There's some pressure.
I think he made some of those moves. I mean, I think they let him go and pick up some of those guys.
I think he
the
has
Brooks
a say in it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the Brooks pickup was probably partly him.
So any decision that required spending money, it was Elliott Wolf that did that.
I think so. So.
Next week we've got noon game at Lambeau. Saints coming to town. Is it worth previewing? Is it worth hoping?
Or does it all matter?
Be fun. You get to see one Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. It'll be fun to appreciate Drew Brees. I mean, he'll sling it around. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Is it possible for the Green Bay Packers to be carried to the playoffs or carried to the Super Bowl by their defense?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And not by the run game.
Nope.
Either.
Yeah. Kind of putting all the eggs in that one arm basket is a terrible idea.
I think that there shouldn't be a single media member that votes for the MVP that doesn't cast their ballot for Aaron Rodgers based on the way the slide is about to happen.
Well, he's the most valuable player to his team, certainly, because without his team, there isn't. Without him, it's just a bunch of dudes walking on some grass.
Well, that's who we're gonna play also with if they didn't have Drew Brees, because they're basically the same.
Yeah, pretty much. So let me ask you this: when the communication to the helmets go off in game from one sidelines for one team, they have to shut off the communications on the other sideline so that it's a fair game. Is there a chance that the NFL will rule Drew Brees ineligible for this game because the Packers won't have Aaron Rodgers?
To make it fair?
That's got to be a thing, right?
Yes, that'll happen.
I'm going to send a strongly worded email to Roger Goodell, and he doesn't read any of my stuff anyway because he knows I hate him. But it's got to be. That should be a rule.
So predictions for next week. I say we lose by 1,000.
1,000 seems strong. I'm going to go about 700.
Okay, Aaron, your thoughts? Packers versus the Saints.
Believe in the miracle, Aaron. Pick them.
It's gonna be 38-10 the Saints.
Okay, I'm doing a take back. 21-14
I'm going to say 31-17 Saints.
Okay. All right. Do your best to remember those.
We have to get through. We got to get through this game. We got to get through the bye, and then I'm going to have a better positive outlook on it. I mean, I got to see another game, but it's going to take Hundley at least these 2 weeks. You know, when they come back and they play, who do they got right after the bye? It's
which bye?
Detroit.
The second bye.
Thank you.
Kind of like
they play the Lions.
Yeah, that game I think will be a better representation of where we're going to be at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But as long as New Orleans is in town, we should give him a 7th round pick for Taysom Hill.
Hey, as long as you're coming up this way, how about you give us a quarterback? Huh?
What do you think there, guys?
Yeah, I'll give you some brats and throw a half barrel in them for you.
Get you a
Stashy wants it
Get you
there.
a 12-pack of Spotted Cow.
Get your whole season pass to Noah's Ark for the whole team.
Have you ever been to the Noah's Ark? They got that water slide thing, that big wave pool.
Let me tell you about Tommy Bartlett. That's you got to see that. The robots, it's like they're real in 1984.
The wave pool, it's just like the hurricanes. You probably see them down there. So
We're going to get you a nice bed and breakfast in Door County for the weekend for the whole team, except for the quarterback you're leaving here.
Just for your third-string quarterback.
Yeah. Well, it'll be it adds an interesting wrinkle, and who knows? Fun to watch, a reason to watch something different. It sucks for Aaron Rodgers.
Sucks for Super Bowl hopes, but you know what?
Yeah. Good for Aaron Rodgers when he's 65. He got a whole season of not getting his head smashed into the ground.
Yeah.
So he'll remember another year there. That's good.
Another big loser in this whole situation is all of us, because there's not a very good chance that Tony Romo is going to call any more Packer games on CBS without Aaron Rodgers being there.
Well, is there no reason for?
They're not going to get They're not going to get the A broadcast team.
Oh, bad for me, because I got to go through it, and now I got to work harder to go watch the games, half the game. I got to go out of my way to lose interest in a football game.
and none of all their games will get moved to noon too. They won't be flexed late.
Nope.
That's good. Frees up some time to go rake the leaves. Got to clean the
Tickets will be
gut.
cheaper.
Yeah,
Tickets will be cheaper there, guy.
Yeah, clean the gutters out before the snow comes, and it's coming. Let me tell you, winter's coming.
What?
Early there, Rodgers. Yeah. All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yep.
Yeah. Have a great week.
We're not on
my
Google
line.
Play yet. I'm working on that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I'll try harder.
Isn't it just with your thing that you?
That's what I thought, but my thing.
program just sends it everywhere.
Yeah, my thing isn't working.
There's a Player FM app. If you get that, you can find us.
Yeah. Go to player. Is it Player FM? Player.fm?
No, it was Player FM on when I actually Googled our podcast. Player FM came up. And then
You may want that for your other podcasts. The Up and Atom. 60% of the U.S. uses Android apps.
No, Up and Adam's there because Ben's in charge of putting it there. But it did take some time. So I'll redouble my efforts. 0 times 2 is still 0. So then I'll add 1 to the effort and try to get it done this week. I'm Jack Tomczak for Aaron Pankey and John Vitamus. Thank you for listening, fellas.
Have a great week.
See ya there, guys.
See you there, guys.
Yeah.